All right, so coming at you guys with another Master Premiere Pro tutorial where we're going to be going over everything there is to know about a multicam sequence and how to edit with multicam sequence. So imagine you have a bunch of different cameras for a shoot, how we're going to be able to take that into Premiere Pro, sync it all up very nicely, and make your editing so much faster, so much easier. With that said, let's get into it. All right, guys, so you have opened Premiere Pro and you have imported your footage. And for this tutorial, we're going to use two cameras, but you can use as many as you would like. And the first thing, what we're going to base this off of is audio here. So I have two cameras. I have what I'm going to call my comp camera, which is recording my computer. And I'm going to have the camera, my Sony a6300, which is recording me. Now, we're going to rename this footage based off of the audio here. So whatever audio that is better for you, and you might have both that you love, and that's fine. But for me, what I have is my computer mic here is recording the good audio, where my camera, since it's a few feet away from me, isn't recording the best audio. So whatever camera is recording the audio that you want your final video to have, you're going to want to name that footage camera 1. So for me, it's going to be my comp audio. So I'm going to rename this footage camera 1. And then my next, I can name it camera 2, and so on and so forth if you have more cameras. And so just to clarify here, camera 1 is the audio we're going to take from. So you want to make sure whatever's named camera 1 is your best audio coming from whatever camera you're going to use. With that said, it's super easy. We're going to select both clips, right click, and we're going to come down and say create multicam source sequence. And it's going to pop up this box here, and it's going to ask you to either custom name it, or it's going to video clip name or audio clip name. And we'll just call this multicam tutorial for now. So now the synchronize point is going to be how Adobe Premiere Pro is going to pretty much sync these two videos together. And so like I stated in the beginning, we're going to sync it based off of audio here, but in other cases, which might be for you guys, you might want to sync it based off of sound time code, in or out points, and that is totally based off you guys. For us, we're going to do audio, and track channel, we're going to do a mix down here. And that's going to take both track channels into consideration. We're also going to go down to sequence preset. And if you have a certain preset that you know you're looking for, go ahead and select it. But for me, I'm going to hit automatic and let Premiere Pro do the work for me. If you have to offset your audio by frames, you can do that as well. But for right now, that's not the case. And then the main thing to keep into consideration is this audio box right here where we have sequence settings. And this is why we renamed the cameras into camera 1 and camera 2, because this audio is going to take our main audio from camera 1, which is right here. You could also come down and you could do all cameras to where it'll take the audio from every single camera and it's going to mash them together. So if you have all your cameras with really good audio in each camera, this might be something you would consider. But for me, I know I only have one camera with the audio that I want to keep. So we're going to do camera 1. If you were to come down and do switch audio, what's going to happen is as you switch between camera 1 and camera 2, it's also going to switch to the audio of that camera. So as we switch from camera 1, which we have the audio, the good audio, and I switch to camera 2, it's going to take the worst audio based off that camera. And there might be some instances where you guys want this. Say if you're shooting two different people talking to each other and you have one mic close to one cast member and you have another mic close to the other actor, you might want to switch the audio because it'll be closer to each actor. So that's just a scenario where this might come in handy doing switch audio, but it's all based off of your editing preference and what you need for your certain edit. So for right now, we're going camera 1, long story short. Audio channels preset. Once again, you can come and you can change this to mono, stereo, yada, yada, yada. I'm going to do automatic and let Premiere Pro do the work for me. And then camera names, I'm going to use my clip names, and that's why we named them. And you hit OK, and it's going to process the audio here in Premiere Pro. And all right, so once Adobe has finished processing and synchronizing the two clips to match each other, you're gonna get a sequence file type up here just under your two clips. And what you can do is right click and hit new sequence from clip. So after you click new sequence from clip, it's going to pop up something like this where it's going to drop that sequence file in a new sequence in the timeline, and you're going to see one of your cameras in your program window. And you might be wondering, well, where's the other camera? Well, it's super easy. What we're going to do is come down here, and if you don't see this icon with 4 little screens and 1 big screen that says toggle multi-camera view, come over to this little plus arrow and go and then just find that icon, click, drag, and drop it into your little toolbar down here. And when you toggle this icon, it's going to show you your camera 1, your camera 2, and your final video and what it's going to look like. All right, guys, so editing this multicam sequence is actually super easy, and it's pretty much going to be on the fly editing. So as you're watching your video, you're going to be switching from camera 1 to camera 2 to camera 3, kind of based on the intuition that you have on where you want your cuts to go. So let's jump right into this, and pretty much what you're going to do is you're going to hit spacebar to play your video, and as your video is playing, you're going to come and you can actually physically click on the camera where you want your cuts to edit. So let's say right here we want it to switch to camera 1, come over, switch to camera 1, and you notice no cuts are actually happening until you stop the video. And as soon as you stop the video, then your cuts are going to show up. So a super nice feature that I think is even easier is if you play your video, instead of physically coming and clicking on your clips, you can actually switch cameras by the number keys on your keyboard. So for camera 2, we can hit 2, and it's going to switch to camera 2, or we can hit camera 1 by hitting 1, and then once we hit spacebar over here, it's going to make those cuts for us. And it's super nice, super easy. And that goes with if you have more cameras, so 3, 4, 5, 6, you can hit those number keys as well. And so let's say this cut that we made right here, it was actually a little late, and we want this cut to be maybe further up here. Well, you can hit N on your keyboard for the rolling edit tool, and I'll link above another master Premiere Pro tutorial where I go over this tool. And you can come down to this cut and you can physically drag it up to where you want it to switch. And now it switches from camera 1 to camera 2 at this new location. So it's super nice tool when you're editing multicam sequences. Another thing that's super nice is say you want this whole clip to actually be camera 2 instead of camera 1. Well, you can just come over, you can click on the clip, make sure it's selected, and then just hit the number key on the camera you want. So we want this whole clip to be camera 2, we hit 2. And it's going to switch that whole clip to that new camera. Now, one of the last things that I'm going to tell you guys is as you're editing, let's say you're making a bunch of different switches and a bunch of different edits, and then you stop it and you're like, ooh, like, I don't know how I feel about that. I actually don't like all the edits I made. You can easily come over and you can hit Control or Command Z, and it's going to redo or undo all of those edits, come back up and replay your video. So if you guys like that tutorial, please check out some of my other Master Premiere Pro tutorials or After Effects tutorials, or just videos in general. I have quite a variety of videos that I like to create, and I'd love if you guys checked them out. Let me know what you think. Comment down below what you guys want me to create a tutorial on, and I will most definitely take that into consideration. But with that said, I'll see you guys next week. Peace.